What does it take to truly lead, to stand firm in your values, navigate challenges, and create real change? In a world where leadership is often tested, few rise to the occasion with unwavering dedication. Today, we bring to you a conversation with someone who has done just that. Ziad Aboultaif, all the way from Canada. From the world of business to the heart of Canadian politics, Ziad has spent years advocating for economic growth, stronger communities, and a better future for all Canadians. His journey is one of resilience, service, and an unshakable belief in making a difference. So, in this episode, we're going to talk about the defining moments of his career, the lessons we've learned, and his vision for the road ahead. So, whether you're a leader, entrepreneur, someone looking for inspiration, especially if you're in business, you're not going to want to miss this conversation. So, buckle up because this is not another podcast. This is a deep dive into leadership, purpose, and the power of actually taking action. Welcome to the Rise Up For You podcast. Let's get started. Ziad, welcome to the Rise Up For You podcast. It is such an honor to have you on our show today.
Thank you. I'm happy to be.
Absolutely. I'm really excited for this conversation, Ziad, because as you know, I'm a business owner. I run a business here in the USA, but we also have clients around the world, including a heavy footprint in Canada. And a lot of our community are business owners in Canada as well. And so I'm excited to learn more about what is happening in Alberta when it comes to business, where Edmonton specifically is going. You know, we have a large footprint there. So I'm excited for this conversation today. But before we jump in, let the audience know who you are and what you currently do.
My name is Ziad Aboultaif. I'm a Canadian member of Parliament. That's what I do. Prior to that, I've been I was first elected in 2015, then 2019, then 2021, and I'm preparing for the next run, hopefully this year. I've been doing taking on several portfolios. I started with national revenue in 15-17. Then I took on international development from 17 to 19. Then I took in 2020, I took on a digital government portfolios as a shadow minister. Right now, I sit on Foreign Affairs Committee as a member at the House of Commons, and we do a lot of international stuff. Previous to 2015, I was a businessman. I ran my own business between 2003 till 2019. And we did a lot of international business beside local business.
Yeah.
So I kind of mix between politics and business. That's my background.
Yeah. So I'm always curious, Ziad, you know, how somebody got into the industry that they're in or why this is a passion for you. So I'd love to better understand. So you were a business owner, and then is that what kind of catapulted you into business and politics? Or take us back a little bit further, like who was Ziad when he was in high school?
Well, that's good. I was very successful. I was top class all the way, to be honest with you.
Okay.
That's something I don't like to share a lot. So my focus was I was very good in math and in language.
Okay.
Then I made my way through to Canada after during the Lebanese War, at the very end of the Civil War.
Okay.
And I had an ambition to work hard. I know that this isn't going to be easy to establish a family and to get into understanding Canada. In 2001, which is almost 10 years after I've been here, I realized that in order to understand Canada, you need to get involved in politics. I made my choice to join the Progressive Conservative Party of Alberta at that time, based on studying the political parties available and understanding that Alberta, they call it the blue province when it comes to politics. And that was an opening to the world of the decision making. I continued to be there until I was elected in 2015. I joined the Federal Conservative Party in 2006 as a very active member, and I was always active members throughout the years. In between, when in the 90s, opportunities opened up for the company I was working for in Edmonton to the Middle East market, and specific to Kuwait. I was chosen because I speak the language,
Yeah.
and I did assist the sales team to build a market in Kuwait, then in United Arab Emirates, a bit in Saudi Arabia,
Yeah.
and I did some study in Canada in international trade. So there was a program offered at the time. I took on it. I took several courses. I took language courses at different levels to basically make sure my language improved, because in Lebanon we're a French Arabic program basically,
Yeah.
or background as far as the languages, at least my generation. So add up together, that got me to understand that the only way to understand Canada more is to be involved on a decision making side of it. And I always also believe that in order to for me to be the politician, I have to make sure my family is ready for that, and my kids are growing. Before that, I never thought that would be an option where the kids will still go into school at that time, where they were still young, because this job takes a lot from family, takes away from family, and takes away from your personal freedom. So I knew the commitment was big, and I made the choice. And I had so many good friends around me that helped me to make this decision. It was a big decision, but it was a successful move.
So I have a lot of questions, everything from family to the politics in Canada, but I kind of want to see where we are right now. So when it comes to like the family aspect, because I think it's so interesting to dive into that side of things, especially in politics. Most people don't really truly understand, I would say, kind of some of the challenges that the family has to deal with. So was this something that you went to your wife and family and said, this is what I want to do? What are your thoughts? Did you prepare them for it? Did you have to? Because you're always on show, right? That, and from my opinion, I would say like it's almost like you're always on stage. You're always
Yes.
being watched. There could be 1 second where maybe your kid does something in public, and then the next thing it's in the news. So like, how did you even prep them for that? Like, what was the conversation like?
Now, the first thing is I had to ask my wife's, opinion on this, and I needed to make sure that they're on board.
Yeah.
The kids were growing in 2015. They were university level,
Yeah.
so we had that conversation. But the first thing, I was trying to cite the family throughout all my public involvement, especially on the political side, to the point that I was accused that I hide my family, but purposely, um, I didn't want the family to be involved on the political side at that stage. So when I started campaigning, I used to go alone and door knocking in the winter time. And my wife said to me, used to say to me, I mean, take one of the kids with you. And I said, not now. Let me test the ground. So she used to come out with me. And when the election campaign took place in July, August, where the campaign started to be serious, they came at two doors with me, knocking at the doors. They are on one side, I'll be on the other side. We had a lot of volunteers with us too. And I always asked them, have anyone give you a hard time? Have anyone tried to be rude to you? And they said no. Actually, people were so happy that we are helping dad
Yeah.
and then and people ask who's running. Then they said my dad. And then where is he? And they say he's next door. So sometimes they call me and introduce me to the people. So it was very good. Now, as far as being in the public life, yes, you have to prepare the family. The kids are mature enough to understand that this is a big game. You'll be in the public eye all the time. I call it, when you enter politics, you take your freedom and you throw it, in the air, that you don't have a freedom anymore because you're a public figure. So you're gonna meet enemies that you've never met in your life.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who will be your enemies, whether you know them or they don't know
Or not.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll make stories about you. They will be told that you're the wrong guy or the bad guy, or you've done this. This is I prepare the family well for that. Thankfully, I had a beautiful history. an immigrant that came to Canada with $600 in his pocket, that I needed to establish family, to buy a house, to do some work, to work hard all the way, and further to also engage in the system.
Yeah.
Um, and life wasn't easy on us as a family. We had an issue with our older son as far as his health, and I ended up in 2003 to donate part of my liver on a organ donation from a living donor, and that was also a big decision. That put the family together at the spot where you don't wish anyone to be put to make those decisions. So that strengthened the family a lot.
Yeah.
And as I said, between building business, working hard, since I came to Canada, I only was off work for about 6 weeks, when the company I used to work for went bankruptcy, and I had to go and look for a job. At
Wow.
that time, I was establishing business, so I really had nothing to worry about other than this is who I am. I came to Canada with very little money that barely can, you know, uh, give you 1 month of surviving, and here I am.
Yeah.
That did help me a lot. Electorate saw that as a big advantage.
Yeah.
They saw it as an added value. They know that this is the Canadian dream. So all that was helping me and the family to stand to the challenges, to understand that in politics, as I said, you'll have those enemies that you've never met in your life, and you have to deal with it by being disciplined, by being transparent, by being hardworking, and by always taking the right path in life. And so far, so good.
Yeah, well, and I think that especially in today's world, people want to be able to connect with individuals that are in political seats. And what you just explained was really a hero's journey. And the citizens of Canada, I mean, even here in the U.S., we want to be able to see ourselves in the politicians. Like they get what we're going through, they understand the journey, they understand the challenges of trying to survive and pay our bills and that kind of thing. So even just from hearing your story, I can tell that it can be very attractive from a voter's perspective that, okay, like nothing was handed to you. You had to build something from scratch. And most Canadians, even here in America, most Americans, I mean, that's what they're trying to figure out on a day-to-day basis. Ziad, I'd love to, because a lot of our audience are global. And so I'd love for you and for me too, can you break down like the difference in political parties in I would say in Alberta or Canada? I don't even know, kind of what that looks like, because obviously it's different than in America and overseas and whatnot.
Yeah, we have a federal system. We have a federation. So the federal parties, we have the conservative. This is my party. We have the
Okay.
liberals. We have the Bloc Québécois, is basically in the French region of Quebec,
Okay.
and the New Democrats, the Green Party. Those are the parties that they have representation in the House of Commons.
Okay.
They vary. Right now, we're in a minority government, so there's 154 MPs from the Liberals. There's 120, or give or take, from the Conservative, 118, 19, something like that. Um, and I'm gonna have to back on this, by the way. I think we have about 119 of the Conservative members. There's two of the NDP, the Green, and there's 25 NDP, and there's about, I think, 30 some from the Bloc Québécois.
Okay.
There's some independents who basically were on a ballot belonging to one of the parties, the main parties, and then they end up leaving or separating themselves. So the Canadian Parliament, the current Parliament, made up of 338 members of Parliament, and uh, the uh, representation, uh, almost somewhere between 106 to 120,000 people represented by each member.
Okay.
Some areas they have more population, that the number can really come up a little bit. Sometimes less, but basically the average is somewhere between 106 and 120,000 people we represent, each one of us. That's the political system.
Yeah.
It's a parliamentary system. The cabinet is chosen from the parliament, and the prime minister will be the leader of the party that holds the most seats in the parliament, whether it's minority or majority government.
Okay. Now, is it kind of duplicated from the U.S.? And what I mean by that is the conservative similar to the Republicans and the liberals, liberal or Democrat, or what's the comparison? Just out of curiosity, if there.
Yes, yes, you're correct. The conservative government is a far right party.
Okay.
Sorry, center right party.
Okay.
Okay. And the liberals mostly centrist, but they became very far left in the last 9 years under Prime Minister Trudeau.
Okay.
The NDP is a socialist, sort of
DP
also
is
far
the new
left.
is the
New Democratic Party.
okay.
The Bloc Québécois is supposedly they advertise themselves as a secular party,
Okay.
focus on the sovereignty and Quebec as a separate nation. They're a separate movement in a way.
Okay.
The Green Party is a Green Party, advocates for environment. But nice to mention that the Conservative Party of Canada is the party of confederation.
Okay.
Reason why? Because under the leadership of a conservative prime minister, where the rail lines, the train, basically was built to connect Canada together. So
Okay.
we are nation builders. The Liberal Party is the party that ruled Canada the most. I mean, it was rotation between us and the Liberals since the Confederation in 1867. But it's always been the rotation between the two parties, as I said, and we are the main parties, basically the main ruling parties of Canada.
Okay. So I'm just curious because we were talking offline and I mentioned that I'm going to be doing more work, and our team here at Rise Up for You is going to be having a larger imprint in Canada, specifically in Alberta. So I'm curious. I study a lot about, okay, where am I going? What's happening there? And I almost feel like Edmonton in the next, I don't know, 5 years is going to explode because I understand it's one of the most affordable areas in all of Canada. I think land wise, there's a lot of opportunity for growth, but I'm curious to hear from your perspective. Where do you think the business landscape is going in Edmonton? Because from my understanding, it's more refinery, more manufacturing, a little more of like the farming side. But do you see it ever becoming more metropolitan, more business? Where do you think it's heading?
Edmonton basically is the hub for the development, the oil and gas and
Okay.
resources. The location and the establishment, the industrial base of Edmonton, mostly was around serving the oil and gas industry and the resources, which is mining and others. So the second thing is we have the agriculture community surrounding in Edmonton. That this is the prairie, so Alberta is also rich in agriculture. What distinguishes Edmonton? Two things: the AI industry and the high tech industry is big, and we have big ground for that. We've got the resources, we've got the investment, and we also have the know-how. The other one is the healthcare research and development. Edmonton is a leader in that field, not just in Canada, but around the world. Okay. So we've done so much to advance healthcare development, research, and for example, the Edmonton Protocol when it comes to dealing with diabetes and finding a treatment for it, we call it a treatment cure, is Edmonton based and is still going. Supposedly, hopefully, this will see the light at the end of the day and will be solution for type A or type 1 diabetes.
Yeah.
So this is where our strength. Also, our educational industry is good. We have, beside the University of Alberta, the Grant McEwen, the Concordia University. We do have NATE, Northern Alberta Institute for
Yes.
Technology, is also world class, known for vocational trainings, for all kind of training on a practical side, and any of the trades, and also in technology. And so we have so much strength uh, for the economy to improve. Now, most of our economy was based or built around oil and gas, because that's where the largest investment came to Fort McMurray and Northern Alberta, and we benefited a lot from it in the past, and we will continue to see that growth coming. Now, Edmonton is an attractive place as a major city. Edmonton, the sixth largest city in Canada, and attractive because still the housing affordable compared to other regions, and that attracting a lot of people from Eastern Canada and Pacific and internationally. The job creation has to continue to be in place. That's why we're counting on the growth. First of all, the continuous growth of the oil and gas. The last 9 years, the federal government was not helpful in keeping those jobs around or keeping the industry going. I mean, you need a growth in order to expect
Yeah.
more jobs. I mean, what we have is okay, but it's not enough. It's not something that we can expect to grow, let's say 100,000, 200,000 people a year more. Right now, Alberta, receives somewhere around 90,000 people a year. Edmonton gets the biggest share of it. But in order to get another 50 or 60,000 people to a city like Edmonton every year, you need to build
Yeah.
at least 20,000 homes or 15,000 homes, which is a lot of homes for a city of our size. So we see the economy is promising. We'll see what's going to happen at your end with the
Know
with the
it.
president. We'll see. But we have to stay optimistic, of course.
Well, I'm curious for you right now, like what are you passionate about? Is there something that you really want to like move across that is a little bit restricted? Like, what's the main thing right now that you're advocating for?
As far as the economy, we need the oil and gas industry to basically to be given the wings needed
Yeah.
to let it fly and flourish. There is a lot of roadblocks to legislature or legislative bills. They're known C-48, C-69. One of them anti-pipeline, one of them anti-ships coming to the west coast of Canada, that they were disallowing or stopping in the way of or stopping the export of oil to the international markets. That has to be unleashed. LNG, liquid natural gas, is a big demand in the world. We need to let this go. We can probably refine more product, more oil and gas product, so we can do it. I mean, the added value of it does really enhance the economy quite a bit and job creations and so forth. So we have so much to offer, and we need to focus more on improving and on the efficiency and productivity, so we can produce more for us, which means for our market and for international markets, because we do have the proper raw material to produce a lot of stuff. So unfortunately, the focus of the current government for the last 9 years was on a social agenda, a social engineering agenda that didn't really serve at all. And the result of it, there's a lot of people that they need a lot of support to survive. Food insecurity is becoming a big deal. Housing and long list, and you probably know because you'll be coming at Edmontonian very soon.
I was there, Ziad. I'm not gonna lie. I was there a couple weeks ago, and it was like $28 for strawberries or something crazy. I was asking my family how they are surviving, like even just getting produce. I couldn't believe the cost.
Yeah, we call this economic vandalism and self-made crisis,
Yeah.
because let's say carbon tax right now 31 cents per liter of gas. added. And if they want to go with the next increase, which is that's the plan in April, it would be 62 cents per liter of gas extra. And they're throwing all this on taxpayers, on the consumers, and there's no given result to a reduction in the emissions. Okay,
Yeah.
so if the purpose of the carbon tax to reduce emissions for the climate change purposes or to fight the climate change, that you need to show the result. There's no evidence whatsoever. Actually, rather in some areas the emissions are going up,
Yeah.
and the carbon tax is going up, and then of course everything is more expensive because everybody pays carbon tax, from the person who move it, who produce it back somewhere, the truck is moving it, the store is receiving it, the warehouse is going to store it, and then of course the consumer is going to have to pay as the end user. So we call it economic vandalism in the political term as a conservative party, because really no one's asking us to do this. It's a self-made crisis, uh, because truly Canada uh, only pollute less than 2%. Okay. Or contribute to international pollutions. We need to fight the climate change, but we need to fight it differently. We need to fight it with technologies, with improving the way we do things, with being more responsible, and from the consumer side to the industrial side to everybody, we need to come together to make sure the environment we live around is being protected for our own sake. But to just use one weapon, which is the carbon tax, and where people need the extra dollar every month, they need to be fed properly, kids and families. They need to heat up their houses properly because otherwise they'll get sick in the 40 below. They need to commute to work, and then not everybody can afford an electric vehicle that now 60, 70, 80, maybe $200,000, some of them. So there's so much has to be done. We have to be more realistic. The government has to be more realistic over their approach. I think we're at the end of this craziness. I hope that with the election, will be a new conservative government that's really going to do what is logical and with common sense.
Yeah, common sense. That's what we're all gearing towards, especially here in the U.S. Well,
Yes.
Ziad, thank you so much for your time. I'd love to have you back on the podcast because I know we can dive into more things. But I'd love to jump into the rapid fire section of the interview. Just some fun questions, like one or two words as a response. So
Sure.
the first question I have is, if you were to leave the world with one final message, we call it our golden nugget. What would your final message or golden nugget be to the world?
Peace.
I love that. And here at Rise Up For You, we are very strong when it comes to values. So, out of curiosity, what's a value for you that's an absolute non negotiable?
Family values.
Family. I love that. And before I ask my final question, Ziad, where can people connect with you if they live predominantly in Alberta and they want to ask you questions or connect? What's the best way to do that?
Well, always search for Ziad Aboultaif. You'll find me. My name is the first name. Alphabetically, I fit the first name in the parliament. So I receive a lot of calls from
Okay.
across Canada because they go to the House of Commons, ourcommons.ca. They
Yeah.
first they see the first name and they send me emails. I'm a public figure. I've got my own website, ziadaboultaif.ca. Again, ourcommons.ca and the House of Commons. You search for my name. If you put your postal code, if you're my constituents, I'll be definitely happy to help. If you're not my constituents, I'm also happy to help. I do believe in open door policy and helping everybody I can when it's proper and when it's possible.
Very good. I love that. Thank you, Ziad. And final question. As you know, our company is called Rise Up For You. What comes to mind for you when you hear that phrase?
Rise up to me is a revolution. Is basically calling everybody to come out of themselves, to bring the power that they have inside, and to put it for the service of everybody around.
Yeah.
We do have so much power, all of us, and some people are so contained to it. Some people they're shy of bringing it up. It's a wake up to good thing. Okay, we've seen other awaken, like the woke culture wasn't didn't serve the world at all.
Yeah.
So I see a call for people to use their power, to use their talents, to use their goodwill and everything they have to make a positive difference uh, for everyone around them, because that's how we build better societies. And I hope that everyone will listen to your message and will see the same in your logo or in your motto.
Absolutely. Ziad, thank you so much. It was such an honor to have you on the Rise Up For You podcast today.
Thank you. Good
Thank
luck.
you. Absolutely. Thank you. And thank
All
you,
the
everyone.
best. Take
Thank
care.
you so much. Thank you. And thank you,
Take
everyone,
care.
listening to the Rise Up For You podcast. Every single week, we are bringing you thought leaders, experts, entrepreneurs, amazing people from around the world to help elevate you and your potential. So before you go, don't forget to click subscribe, and I'll see you on the next episode. Hey, I hope you enjoyed today's podcast. Before you leave, don't forget to subscribe to our podcast and YouTube channel and check us out on social media. We are everywhere, from LinkedIn to Instagram to Facebook, at our simple handle at Rise Up For You. On every single platform, it's exactly the same. And we're providing new content on every single platform, so there's something different everywhere. So don't forget to subscribe to our channel, subscribe to our podcast, and connect with us on social media. I'll see you next time.